Živjo, Ivy here, and we are setting up our very last for December reading, what I was reading this month. And this is new. It's a ring light, and you tell me if you can see better. So let's go. Let's see. I have to say, I read 7 books. Like, wow. That is a wow for me, okay? I achieved my goal. My goal for this year was 50 books. I believe I've read 57, which is great. I'm very happy about it. If you haven't noticed, I do like to read different genre of books. Also, I prepared the site beforehand. I had to test if the white pencil even still works, so everything was written already. As you can see, I read 3 books and 4 audiobooks. And I will write down pages, how many I read later. But yeah, I read 7 books. It's crazy. And the washi tapes that you saw me use, it is extremely old. It is in a store called Tillie, and like as usual, you will find everything that I use in my description box below. If I use anything like that, you will find it down there. But most of these stickers are from Tillie, so that's something I can't give you a link for. I decided for next year I will not give myself a goal. I want to surprise myself. Just how many books will I be able to read in 2025? And the first book that I've read was No Exit by Taylor Adams, and it is a thriller, crime, kind of horror books. It's basically also very survival type of thing. And I enjoyed this book. It was very stressful to read, I'll say that. It's basically about our girl Darby. She is going from her school to go back home to see her mom. Her mom is going to get surgery because she has cancer. And the weather was going so bad. It was snowing hard. Her car will not be able to drive any longer. And so she found shelter in one of those parking spaces where you have like a little bit of house, get yourself a coffee and all that. And she wasn't alone there. There were other people as well. And the bad thing is that in that place you don't have like the signal that you can call anybody. But Darby didn't know that she is in presence of people that are about to do something bad. And she wasn't so sure of who to trust, because when she went outside to try to get a signal one more time, because this guy actually told her that, yeah, you can get the signal if you go to these statues, but there was no signal. She didn't get it, and she thought, I'm going to try it again. And she stopped at this one car, and she saw a little girl. So this is basically, what are you going to do? Are you going to be quiet, not say anything? Are you going to try to save the girl? The decision is hard, and Darby decided that she wants to save the girl. And oh boy, just when Darby thought, I can trust this guy, turns out she shouldn't trust anybody. She's alone in this. And the saddest part about this is that the little girl Jay, she has some type of medical condition and it doesn't look good for her. So they're running out of time to save her, to get the medicine that she needs. It is stressful. It's all about survival, and so many things happen that also really made me angry, because Darby went through so much trauma and these people hardly went through anything like what they put her through. Like, she got pepper sprayed. Her fingers were broken. She was freezing. A lot of things. And that's because she was trying to do everything by herself. And I mean, she was doing it right, because you don't really know if you can trust these people. Because only one of them really did look shady, but he wasn't the only one. So yeah, I enjoyed this book. It was very gripping and it was great. I do recommend. My second book is a novella by Meghan Quinn. I did read one book from her. I actually like her writing, and I would like to get to some of her books as well. So this one is Resting Scrooge Face. It's basically a Christmas type of a theme, and it's about Caleb and Nola. They were once a couple when they were like really younger, and when Nola went to go to a big city, go to school there and have a life in a bigger city than they were back home, Caleb kind of didn't want it. He felt more at home here, and their love kind of like fell apart there, and they never really talked about it, their feelings, and made like a pact. Okay, are we fine? We're fine. They never did. So when Nola came back home to her little town, she is going to stay here because things happened with her ex-boyfriend and she moved out and she didn't have anywhere to go than to go back home. And a good friend, a postman, actually found Caleb's little letter that he was writing, and he just took the letter and just gave it to Nola, like pen pal. Yeah, that's what it's called, pen pal. And they were like writing to each other how they both hate Christmas, until more they talked to each other, the more they liked each other. But they didn't know who was writing these letters until they then kind of figured out. I mean, they later figured it out who they were. But they also needed to, as Caleb and Nola, they needed to really confront one another and actually have a conversation, which they did, and it's nice. It's a really short, cute story. There is no dirty talk and no spicy scenes, nothing. It is short, cute story, and I do recommend if you're looking for a short novella. Next one is The Housemaid is Watching, and I believe this is the last book about Millie, because in this book, I think around 10 years has passed since the second book. Millie and Enzo are married and they have 2 kids, which is cute. But I also had this feeling, I think I talked about it in the second book, that I am a little bit, basically I did not completely trust Enzo. I have a feeling like he didn't say a lot what was in his past, specifically what was going on in Italy, because he's from Italy. And I was right. I kind of had this feeling, and I was right, and he finally confessed to Millie. But okay, I'm kind of jumping. They're married, they want to go from this town to have a house. They bought a house, it's in a lovely neighborhood. They thought they will finally have a little bit of peace, it will be nice, and it turns out they have not such good neighbors. One is watching way too much. Like this woman has no life. She's constantly looking at her neighbor, how they're living, what they're doing. And then you have another neighbor that are really rich, and this woman, I think her name is Suzette, yes, she's constantly like all over Enzo. And Millie is kind of like, okay, a lot of women went after him. He is a very, very good looking guy, and she was cool until she could not take it anymore. So Suzette's husband, Jonathan, he seems like a really nice guy. He ends up dead. And here's the thing, that Enzo was not very open with Millie. He didn't tell her the truth. He did a couple of things behind her back. And so she kind of started to not trust him. Should she trust him? Basically, a lot of things happen. And the plot twist in this one, it's one plot twist after another. And when you think you know who the killer is or what happened, and in the end of the book, it is a completely different person. I believe this was my least favorite book. I think the first one was still my favorite one. The second one was good. Yeah, basically like the way the books go. It's still a good read. I still do recommend. I think the books were great. I just think that the first book just hits different, and to me personally it's really good. So yeah, I still do recommend if you are into thriller crime mystery type of books, and if you still want to know what happens with Millie. Now in this one, my goodness, did I cry. So I read 1,000 Boy Kisses. I cried so much. Now I don't know if it's because I was reading this book when I was Shark Week. Yeah, so that's when I was reading this book. Maybe I was too emotional, but I was crying. And this book reminded me so much, for those who did watch it in the 90s, the movie My Girl. It just gave me those feelings. Young love, kids being kids, and all that. And I mean, a little bit I didn't feel so well that they started like kissing when they were like, what, 8, 9? Was it? I know they were really young. I didn't write it down, but they were really young. And when Poppy's grandma was dying, she gave this jar full of paper hearts that she would write down all the kisses that she would get from from her love of the life, right? And so Rooney, the boy who they were together this whole time, she was really mad that Poppy was so ready to start receiving those kisses, like, hello girl. That was a little bit weird to me. So Rooney was said, no, you're not going to start kissing boys, and he actually gave her a kiss, like he's going to be the one giving her 1,000 kisses. It is super cute until they hit puberty and things start to happen, and Rooney had to go back to Poland, I believe, or was it Norway? No, I forgot. I think it was Norway. Basically, he had to go back home because his dad got a different job, and you're a teenager, your hormones and all that, and he was so mad at his father because he had to leave, and he didn't want to leave, he wanted to stay, and they were both really heartbroken because he can't stay here, he's 15 years old. And they kind of like promised each other that they will write letters, and until the letters stopped coming from Poppy, and Rooney was getting more and more angry until 2 years later they actually moved back to America. Not exactly, I forgot where exactly they were, but somewhere in America. And he kind of wanted to confront Poppy of why she stopped writing, and she had a really good reason. Basically, this book kind of tells you to enjoy life to the fullest, enjoy every day, find special memories and all that, because this is sad, because someone dies. And if you didn't read the books, I don't want to spoil it. And yes, there is a second book that came out, and it follows Poppy's sister, the second one. There are 3 sisters, so Poppy, the middle one, and the younger one. So then the second book is about the second child. Goddamn. I am interested to read it. I just hope it's not a crying fest like with this one. I was crying so much, and this book is so good. I do recommend. My goodness, I read so many horror, thriller, crime, survival books this month, and here's another one, and it is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I did read one of her books, I think in summertime, and I liked it. It was kind of a short, and this one was also, it was pretty good. To think that these people that you meet or that you spend your time with, you are so mistaken. Basically what is happening here is that I believe there are a lot of characters. I only wrote the main characters. So our main girl is Krista, and she went with her boyfriend to this winter mountain, some kind of lodge or a hotel where they're going to stay. And their bus didn't broke down. It was a tree that fell down on the road, so they needed to cut it off to remove it so they can keep going. And a bad weather came out of nowhere. They didn't expect it, and so to find shelter, they couldn't stay in the bus. They found this small little cottage, and I think it's around 11 people altogether. And here's the kicker: it's not the food or the cold that they need to be careful about. One by one, each night ends up dead. Who is the killer? Now, Krista's boyfriend was, it seems, one of the first. Then was their tour guide or the bus driver, and so on. And they just couldn't figure it out. Was it one of them, or was it somebody on the outside? And one thing they figured out is that all of them received these tickets for free because they have a connection that happened, something that happened 2 years ago. And so the killer brought all these people into this mountain together to get rid of them for what happened 2 years ago. It's a good book. It's so gripping. It's great. I do recommend. Now, I found these very short stories. This book is called Christmas and Other Horrors. Now, there are many different authors in this book, and they all write their own little short story. Now, some of them were really good. They really surprised me. And then some I just didn't connect. It kind of lost me. I don't know. I just didn't understand. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I do get it. It's everybody's writing like a short story, so you don't have that much to write about. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you can't go into details. Even though that's not true, there was a couple of stories that were a lot longer than the others. Overall, some were good, some I just didn't. They just left me confused. So here are some of my favorite ones. The importance of a tidy home. Basically, in this town, there's a legend that these. Do you know what are they called? Those doctors in medieval, when they had those masks like beaks. Basically, they were like that. I'll try to find a picture so you know what I mean. Basically, they come into your home to see if your home is tidy. If not, you end up dead. And it was interesting. The ones he takes was about the son that went missing for an entire year until he ran away from Santa, and Santa is not happy and he is coming to collect him back. That one was a good one. Dry and Ready. I know I like this book, but I kind of forgot what it was about. Return to the Bear Creek Lodge. Not sure. Is this about statues? I think this one is about statues. It's basically, I know there's one story that a mother, daughter, and grandmother had to go, something that their grandfather has left them. And it's this like little park with statues, and you have to go and feed them. If you don't, so apparently something bad is going to happen, which it did. The Ghost of Christmas Past. Why don't I not remember this? I like this book, but I can't remember what happened. Oh my god, I should have write it down. The next one, I will write it up there because there is no way I can pronounce this. I also like this one. This one kind of like teaches you to become a better person, to be honest. It really gets you thinking. I did like this one a lot. Grave of Small Birds, about a woman who is a batch. She's a batch. And it's about something that happens, that one girl, the most prettiest girl, gets chosen for something, for a ritual. And our main girl was very jealous that she was not picked. And the last one was Afterwards. Funny, I still don't remember even this one what it was about. But those are all the books that those short stories that I liked in this book. If you want to like read some horror in Christmas, give it a try. And we are at the last book, and this book is called Jack Frost. I wanted to end the year not with horror book, but something more cozy. So this is like romantasy book. We all know who Jack Frost is. And it did remind me a little bit on that Jack Frost that was in, what is it called? It's an animated movie, something about Guardians. I will leave a picture, you know who I'm talking about. So basically our girl Emery, she goes to Antarctica to film these penguins that are about to hatch because she wants to make people aware the beauty of our planet and to save it. And she stayed behind. Her team were about to move out because the one that was leading them said that they need to move now because it seems that there's a bad weather coming. And Emery was like, yeah, I'm coming right with you. And she didn't. She stayed behind because she wanted to film it so bad. She did succeed, but she ended up in a snowstorm. Now she was freezing, she was walking and ended up in a hole, and she found an ice kingdom where Jack Frost was sleeping. And somehow she was able to open the door to his bedroom and wake him up. And he was kind of surprised, not very much angry, but kind of surprised how she was able to do that, a completely normal human. And so he was very interested in her and he wanted to know more about her, so he keeps showing up. And he's really this fun guy. Emery, on the other hand, she was, I think this is like a grumpy sunshine, just reversed. She was more grumpy than he was. Emery also finds out what is Jack's purpose, what is his job. And basically I have like a picture here of this fire lady. There has to be like a fae that is both fire and ice so that they can make, because it's not good that one is powerful than the other, you know. Then if fire is too strong, you get volcanoes. If ice is too strong, then you get ice age, basically. They kind of need to coexist and be at the same level. But the fire lady, I forgot her name, she wants to destroy everything, and Jack is basically fighting her alone. So this is a fight between him and her. Emery wants to help, but she is incapable because she is human. Until why Jack is so drawn towards her, they figure it out once they visit Emery's mother, and she finally spills the beans when she was drunk and told the story. The book is cute. I really love, even though Emery kind of needs to calm down, but that's, I guess, the grumpy sunshine kind of a trope. But I love that he did not give up on her, even though she told him, like, can you leave me alone? Yeah, sure, he was gonna leave you alone until you're done with work, came back home, and here he is. He never left her alone, except for once, and she ended up really missing him, and he was so happy that she was missing him. It's a cute, sweet book. I really had fun reading this. And now we're back at the beginning. I read quite a lot of pages. I mean, I did read 7 books. And these are the stars that I gave, and 1,000 Boy Kisses is going to get a special star because it is my favorite book of the month. I am very excited to start the next reading journal. I already have it prepared, and I would like to do things a little bit different. So I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my little video, and I hope to see you next time. Ciao ciao!